Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I cannot wait for you to hear my guest today. So if you're here at the Heal Your Hunger Show for the first time, welcome. This is where we completely sidestep the whole diet and exercise conversation because that's so old, so old. And we address instead what's really driving us to the refrigerator time and time again. So we can heal at a deeper level and live in freedom. So if that's what you want, you are in the right place. And also be sure that you join us in the Secret Sauce group. This is on Facebook. You type in the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. Make sure you join us there because that's where we continue the conversation. And I'm always jumping in there with announcements and posts that can inspire you and motivate you and help you feel supported on this path. So jump in there and join us for sure. Also, there's a really cool event coming up. And again, if you're in the Secret Sauce group, you're going to hear about it first. But I have a beautiful 3-day conference that I'm hosting called Make Peace with Food, Love Your Body, Love Your Food, and Love Your Life. So be sure you get all the details about that and join us there if you want to dive deep and heal emotional eating in this incredible, immersive, loving, supportive, fun environment and conference. Okay. So this episode is part of a special podcast series called Snapshots of Freedom from Emotional Eating. This is an 8-episode series that will give you a short but intimate peek into the minds and hearts of courageous people that have stepped off the diet track and are now on a journey to heal the underlying causes of their emotional eating. So my guest today is so special, and you're going to hear why. And oh my gosh, she just really touched my heart ever since I've known her. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, welcome, Lucie. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So you are the youngest person we've ever had with Heal Your Hunger, and I really appreciate your coming on to share your unique perspective. So tell us your age and a little bit about how you came to know about Heal Your Hunger and say yes to this journey for yourself.
Yes. So I am 18 years old. I turned 18 during this program. So I'm in my very last year of high school. And honestly, it was very lucky how I got here. I had another relative. My mother actually did this program. And we are very similar, like as I've learned as well in this program, like when that things can get passed down. And I think I have lived in a household of addictive people. So I think it was just a part of my life too. So I always knew I wanted help. It was at the beginning of grade 12 where I was like, hey, I think I want to sign up for therapy. That was where I thought I was looking to get. But it was with some motivation and with some pushing that I was able to join this program and say yes to this because it was such a hard thing because I basically before I had said yes, I had read a couple chapters of Tricia's book and it had hit such close to home that I couldn't, I cried and I was like, no, I can't do this because it was just a wake-up call. It was like a looking in the mirror and having to deal with that. At the time, I couldn't deal with it. So I took a break for a couple months and said, okay, after I'm done applications to university, because literally that's where I was at when I came to this, I was like, okay, then I will do it. And that's kind of what happened after the new year. After I gotten through all the application process and I was done and I just had some time, I was like, okay, I want to do this. And I'm very, very lucky I did. I think honestly, it was just a lucky thing that I came across. I was motivated, yes, but I was also pushed into it. And I'm just so grateful I was because I needed it more than anything else. So yes.
That's so beautiful. And your mom is so beautiful. We just love your mom. So what traits did you have that, first of all, it made you want to do something for yourself and you're like to go to therapy? What made you think of therapy? What were the symptoms you were experiencing that made you start to need, to look outside yourself for some help?
Well, I am a very emotional, I've always been a very emotional person. And I think I just didn't like the way I was living and treating myself. And again, I've always strived for better, but I've always been in this I've always kind of neglected some of the real issues behind why I am the way I am, which is, I'm an emotional person. I'm sensitive. I feel everything. I think that I felt like that for a long time. And so things in life would just hit me so much harder than I think it would most people. And I just wanted to better understand myself because there were words to feelings that I just didn't know where to put them. And so I would be feeling things and I wouldn't know what to do with them. And so that's what I thought therapy was needing. But I also had issues with food. I've always had some issues with food because I love to escape. That was my whole thing. That's what food did. That's what TV did. Oh, big time. I was an avoider. Oh my goodness. That should be my middle name. Kidding. Not. But anyway, I would again, ever since I was a little, I would avoid things. I remember I had some of the hardest years. It was when I was bullied very badly when I was little. And I don't know how I got through that time. And I think food and TV did save my life in that moment because I'd come home and I would I would have terrible nightmares. I'd have the worst nightmares and I didn't know how I got through it. I used to be like, Dad, I have a pain in my chest. I was bullied and I had this pain in my chest and I don't know how to get through it. And eventually it just went away. And I was like, oh great, I'm fixed. I wasn't fixed. It came back. So it was like,
I'm sorry you were bullied. That's a terrible experience.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, it's brought me, it was a part of a journey, I think. So anyway, so yeah, and I used food and I used those things as a way to just make it easier. It was like, I come home and I was like, oh, I always have something to look forward to because that's what food was and things was to me. And then I had some eating issues in grade 9 and 10 where I would binge and purge. It was basically what I did. I used to do intermittent fasting. I'm lucky it didn't get as bad as I know some other women have gone through. My gosh, blessed. But no, I totally was all on diets. I was calorie counting like crazy. I was like, I was just in this weird cycle of like, I wanted to feel, I wanted to build my self-esteem, but it was in a self-destructive way at the time because I wasn't really nurturing or caring for myself. I was kind of killing the body that I was in a little bit and wanting to look a certain way so that people would want me, not for myself. It wasn't really for me. It was for other people to want me because that was the only way I knew how to love myself at the time. And that's how I grew up. I was a huge people pleaser and I loved the love that I was getting from everybody else. And I thought that's how I should love myself, but it's not. It has to come from you. And I knew that, but I didn't really know it. So I think there's always a lot of issues with that. And I've always had it. And I think, and I've always been, food has always been a comfort. It's always been a comfort, but it wasn't a healthy comfort because every time I'd come to a stage where I'm like, I just hate the way I'm living. I hated it. I hated the way I was living. I hated the procrastination I felt, the numbness I felt. I didn't feel like I was like, what was the point? I didn't have a point to my life and I really wanted to find one. So I think that's what, Heal Your Hunger has opened my eyes to. It's just how I was living was so unhealthy and uncomfortable and not good for me. It wasn't something that was going to serve me. So, yes.
I know your mom had struggles with anxiety, and when she joined this program, that really dissipated, through the self-care, through the community. Was that something you struggled with too?
We do have a bit of an anxiety problem. I think I'm a bit different. I'm pretty good at like sitting and crying. Like when I have to cry, I will. And like, I'm not as afraid of the kind of the everyday things, but I am very fearful in my own ways. It's in a more of an untrue beliefs, as you will, way. There are just things I fundamentally believed about myself that were just so hard and so it's just something that like I don't know. I was thinking about all these questions and I was like, if I have this one vessel, this is the one thing that I will carry with my whole life is myself. And I think about this way. Sorry, I think this way about myself. It's like, why on earth am I, it's like that's such a like an awful thing to think, It's like I have to
Can
love.
you put a name to some of those untrue
Yeah.
beliefs you had?
Oh my gosh, I thought I was ugly. I thought I was so ugly. I mean, that's
Mm,
it's a bit more vain in the sense, but I definitely did think I was an ugly person. I never thought I was a good person too. Um, I never thought I deserved anything that I had ever, um, at all, because I've been
okay.
born with a lot, and I thought I didn't deserve any of it, and I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of shame and pain about it. And I just thought,
Mm,
like, it's like, why am I get this? I'm no better. I'm no better than anyone else. And it's true. I'm no better in a sense, but I definitely took that to an extreme that I don't know. I didn't deserve anything. I didn't deserve
mm.
anything. And it was a very low kind of, it was not a kind feeling to feel. So I do understand my mom's anxiety, and I do have I do have a lot of fear. So I don't know if that's the same, but I think it's a bit more in a different, more subconscious way than I think my mom had. So
Sure. Sounds like it was
yeah.
more like insecurity about
Yes,
yourself.
way more insecurity. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that
Of
and being
course.
so vulnerable here. So you made space in your life in school, you got your college applications out of the way, and then you joined us for this amazing
I
90-day
did.
journey.
I did.
And what was it like for you?
Oh my goodness. It was okay. So again, I think because I wasn't fully, like, I was a bit pushed into it. I was a little bit like, but I thought it was amazing. Even at the beginning, I was like, wow, there's a lot to this. And it was hard to sit down with my feelings because, as we know, the first chapters of those books made me cry. So what do you think? 90 days. Oh my gosh. So many emotions. But it was really worth it. It was so worth it because, I got to put names to things I didn't know how to describe. Like there's such a color to, like, my emotions and my sensitivity and everything that I was feeling with the world, because I felt the world. I feel the world all the time. And I didn't have
Mm,
the words to describe what I was feeling. I didn't have the words or the tools to help me deal with it and to not get into a negative mindset, because you could easily, I think in a world like this, you could so easily fall into that mindset. So it's like, how do you have tools and, to get out of that, especially when it comes to food, like when it came to, how I was feeling about food and indulging and trying to escape. It's like, it's just sitting with the feelings, not being scared of the feelings, not being scared of, the food and of anything, and just facing it. And it's okay. And it's not as bad as you think it is, especially in a positive place, because that's what I think Kill Your Hunger is, a very positive environment to face and deal with these feelings that you are feeling and with the issues. And it's not like, again, like, I think we always think it's so much worse in our heads, but it really is. It's solvable. If it happened, it can unhappen. It's such a bad,
yeah.
so it's, I don't know, yeah.
That's so sweet. And then, I mean, you are so young and you're clearly an old soul because you took to this like a duck takes to water. And I love hearing the transformation and the progress and just your perspective. It's really, you've
Totally.
come so far.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I have a long way to go. Absolutely. Like, there are times, and even today, I was like, oh, there's something I need to think about. And I've been writing more. I find I actually write. So for all the new people who don't know, one of the self-care secrets is to write, and it's really big because I find I have to write myself multiple times a day, because since once you get more open, you do feel even more, or you're more susceptible to your feelings. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
get it out or get it on paper. And so, yeah, no, I find I'm always writing about things, or always kind of dealing with things, so that I'm not
Yeah.
holding on.
Processing.
Yeah, and I think and now I have words and tools to help me always process things. So again, but there are a lot of things that I think I still need to process, and as life changes, I will need
But
to
yeah, and
adapt and
you
adapt.
have new tools so that you
Oh my goodness,
can.
absolutely. Many tools, and then that's the thing, whoa, that's the big thing, for all the listeners, is that you will get a set of tools that will just help you. Like, they're going to help you get through and deal with life's ups and downs and our foods and our addictions and all that stuff, because this can be implemented, I think, for my addiction as well with TV. It helped, and just screens, like that was a huge thing, and I think it really can be implemented in a lot of ways, which is what I did with it. So yes.
So beautiful. Now, I remember on one of our group calls, you talked about your friends and they're noticing a difference in you. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Well, I think, yes, definitely. Well, they definitely noticed my habits have changed. I'm not, because again, as I am the youth of today, there are parties and drinking, and they see that they're much calmer, much happier, and I'm much more, again, the thing about it is, like, the people I'm around, I'm still wanting to evolve a little bit, because I don't know if they're exactly the crowd I want to be in. Not that they're at all a bad crowd. They're very simple, nice people, but I don't know, I'm looking for other people as well and trying to grow my circle. And I think, and I think they definitely have seen my patterns have changed. I'm not as giving to them as I was, not in not in a rude way, but I'm just more about what I need at times, which I think is a really important thing for me, because I used to not be like that at all, and it would just kill me, and then it would end up in flames anyway. So I was like, this is just, I have to be more self-serving. And I'm oh my gosh, I was gonna say something. Yeah, and also, like, my friends are, again, all emotionally used, I think, as well. So they know that my eating habits have also changed, and I think they're uncomfortable and happy at the same time. So I think, because they're a bit challenged by that, but they're seeing that it's changing too, and I'm just calmer, and I'm also I'm much nicer when it comes to being emotionally and open. Like, I'm way able to give more in a way than I could have, than I had in the past.
How interesting. So you've pulled back on just sort of over giving.
Yes, but I can give.
And now you have a greater capacity to give. What an incredible irony, isn't it?
No, I was about to say, like, that's a contradiction itself, but it makes sense when you're in it. It's like you're not, it like it in a sense, it's like you're not giving when you don't want to. Like, I find that some people, we all feel like we have to, like, at certain times we just have to
obligated.
Like, oh yeah, you feel obligated, or like, oh, you don't want this person to not like you, so you should do this thing to make sure they like you, and so that you're, and I'm not doing that anymore, like, as much. I think there are moments, but I'm much, much, much better, and I'm much more aware if I have that happen. It's like, oh, I did something, and I didn't like that I did that, because I didn't really want to do that. That's how resentment forms. You don't want to have that at all. So it's like things like that. So
yeah, well, and so they're no longer, you're conserving your energy, right? And you're not getting resentful, right? Because you're more true to yourself, is what it sounds like.
Yes, and then when I'm more true, I can give more, and I can, when I can see and when I feel, okay, I would love to extend myself, and I do, and then it's a way nicer, more genuine exchange. It's not like I'm pretending to be anything, to be good, or to be anything I'm not. I just am, which is great. So it's nice.
Very great. Very, very great. I love it.
Absolutely.
And you also, I remember you commented on your relationship with your mom. Talk a little bit about how that's changed.
Well, again, I think like, me and my mom have always, I think, butt heads a little bit, not in like a wildly unhealthy way, but as a mother and daughter does, it does happen. And my mom was definitely a bit of a workaholic. I did notice that as a kid. And I loved my mother, because she pushes me. The same, my mom, she loves me to death, and she pushes me to do things that I would never do. And I think, and that's why I loved her. But yeah, we definitely butt heads a little bit, and as normal. But now I think it's since we've both been in this program, we are more open to discussions that are a bit more emotional, and any resentments I have ever had to her have definitely, oh my gosh, healed. And I just accept, because my mom's done amazing, and there's no need. It does not serve me to hold on to any ill will or any ill feelings, because resentment, as we know, also comes from us and our part in that too. And now we just have, like, we're doing walks now where we're just talking about to make sure we're on track and we're taking care of ourselves. And it's a different type of relationship. We're opening a door to a new kind of mother-daughter as I'm growing up, and she's, my mom and amazing. And so it's a healthy dynamic, and it's a lot more open, and it's a lot more communicative. I think we're a bit more reactive with each other rather than just talking. And I think it's really kind of full circle because, my mom's changed and grown just like I have. And it's really nice. It's a really nice full circle moment, I think.
That
It's
is
awesome.
so beautiful, Lucie. So, my gosh, so beautiful. And I know there's a lot of moms probably listening and
Oh, yes.
wishing for that for their daughters, for their relationship with their daughters. So it's really sweet that you have that you and your mom have this common language and a deeper language. I mean, I just think, gosh, what a beautiful foundation for your ongoing, and growing relationship with your mom is to have
my
a
gosh.
deeper level of communicating and relating.
Totally. It's a new door that I'm really interested in exploring. And it's a different dynamic, and I'm really excited to see where it goes too, because this is like the beginning of this, since I'm ending this program and I'm going on to other things next year. So we're just having that kind of dynamic that's going to keep us afloat and keep me good and keep me grounded and centered, because the community is so important and valuable. So yes.
And you also, I picked up that you're doing something next year that you didn't feel like you could have done prior to this program.
No, and that's the thing. Because again, I think that's one of the biggest things with me was my fear. I was really afraid because I didn't believe I had it in me to be able to do it. I didn't believe that I could take care of myself or deal with the world if I didn't have my house and my parents. And I think that was a big thing for me, is I was just so fearful, and I had so many negative kind of beliefs around myself. But now I have decided for post-secondary to study abroad, which I was given an opportunity to do. But I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do it. But after a few months of this program, I reconsidered the offer and I accepted to go study in Liverpool, England for film. Crazy.
Wow.
So, and I am situated in Canada, for everyone who's wondering. So that's a good little bit away, overseas.
Yeah, from Canada to Liverpool, England.
And
that is amazing. That's a big jump. So congratulations.
It's a huge jump. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm going to embrace it head first, and I just know that I have every capacity to do it. And that's the thing I now believe, which is huge and super new for me, because a couple months ago I didn't. So.
Oh, Lucie, that is so heartwarming. How incredible. You have your whole life ahead of you, and you have so much knowledge about yourself. You've got new tools to see you through anything that
Absolutely.
comes up. Yeah. And you've got this courage, this newborn courage. I just love it. Good for you.
Thank you. That was one thing. Yeah, the courage is actually, it's actually really funny you said that, because that's actually been I don't know if I should, I'm just gonna say it anyway. My mantra is actually the word I'm using right now, because I've been like, I want to use that word. That's been my mantra for a couple days now, 3 days or so. So courage. Yeah, to get God's courage, because he got it all. So.
Oh, I love that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because you did mention also that your spiritual journey has grown and changed through this program. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So, I think I've always been a little bit more spiritual when I was younger. Like, I've always been interested in getting to know, because again, I think I've always wanted to know about myself, to discover what made me tick, what made me me. And I think that astrology and tarot card readings and all sorts of things were a big thing in my life. Like, I used to try to really understand who I was, because I think
I'll just say, emotional eaters are seekers. Like, we're
true.
When we're so sensitive, we also tend to be seekers, seeking a deeper meaning.
That's exactly it. And I was, because I wanted to understand myself. Again, I think I've always been slightly, even at 9 or 10, looking for some tools to just help me and to understand me. And I even, I tried to, God was never really an item in my life. I didn't like what I believed God was when I was younger, because I went to a Catholic school, and it was kind of like I got this sense that God is this entity I must bow down to. And I felt so kind of cheated by that notion, because I'm like, no, I want to, if I'm going to say sorry to anyone, it's not going to be to God. It's going to be to myself. Like, I had this sense, like, I have to serve myself. I'm not here to bow down and serve God in my life. I want to serve me. And that was just kind of a twisted way of viewing it, because that's not actually what the universe, the spirit, Mother Earth, God, whatever you want to call it, is. And it's just it's not what that is. Like, I've learned that's completely just, it's what someone perceived or what someone decided something was, but it isn't the truth, at least to you. And that's what I think is really awesome about this program, is there is a spiritual aspect, but it's a very natural, nice, it's a very, like, a personal thing. It's not anyone, and everyone's God is going to be different to them. Everyone's spirit and everyone's foundation for who they want to pray to look to will be different. And for me, it's just this great best friend, this person that I can talk to, that I can confide in, that I can just, that I can trust fully with everything that I have, which is the best. It's like my spiritual self, my divine self, or God or spirit or whatever, is this person that I can just ask for help and they will answer. And I think that's just the best thing to have. It's not, it's not anything else. So that's one thing that, that's totally changed, because I totally know everyone's skepticism. I was skeptical. I'm like, no, I don't want to believe in anything. I don't want to have, but it's not, it's different than that. It's not what we think, I think. And I think I need to open my mind to the possibilities. And I think that's what really helped me as well. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And that's where you're getting your courage from.
Exactly.
So sweet. Well, Lucie, it's really refreshing to speak with you and to hear your experience. Thank you so much for being willing to come on.
Absolutely. I'm so happy.
Share. Yeah. And I think a lot of moms are like, wow, wouldn't it be nice if my daughter had this kind of awakening, Wow.
Oh, I know.
And for emotional eaters, I mean, the mother-daughter connection is pretty intense, right? It's pretty intense.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
There's a lot going on there. So I'm so happy that you guys have this common ground and this healing path. So congratulations to both of you. You're both such incredibly special, unique, heart-centered, intelligent, trailblazing women. You really are. And I'm just so excited for what's coming for you. And, your mom has obviously set a great example in the film,
Huge.
Right? The film and creation and beautiful arena there, and creativity. And so I know you're going to do amazing things in your life. And I'm glad you have this foundation with which to kind of go forward and find what your way is.
Oh, thank you so much. And I am also just unbelievably grateful for it too. So thank you.
So beautiful. We'll stay in touch because we love you and are always happy to hear from you.
Absolutely. I will. I promise that.
Yeah, sweet. Well, thanks so much for sharing.
No problem. Thank you for having me on. And thank you for everyone listening as well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, here's my take. As you can see, Lucie had an amazing transformation at such a young age. And it's really obviously setting her up for a beautiful life, one where she can have a deeper understanding of herself and what it takes to get through hard times. And of course, don't we all wish we had that at 18? And I was fortunate in that I got help with my emotional eating at age 21. So I was very lucky. And I think that's why I connected with Lucie so well throughout my program. And I never had any idea that younger people could take to my program as Lucie has. And it's given me a whole new sense of what's possible, for younger people, because I know I struggled so much in my teens with food, with my low self-esteem, with self-destructive habits, as I'm sure maybe you have as well or had. So what I want to share is that if you're a mom who has a daughter who is experiencing self-destructive habits, first of all, I'm sorry. I think it's an incredibly hard experience to have as a mother, to watch your child struggle with herself, okay? Herself or himself. So hard as a parent. And my heart goes out to you for what that's like. One of my favorite quotes was from my mentor, who said, God doesn't have any grandchildren. And I just love that. And what that means to me is that all children have a higher power, have a direct line to God, just like we do. And I think oftentimes parents think they are the conduit. It's their job to sort of play God in their kids' life, to save their kids from suffering. But the good news is that every person has a higher power. So as hard as it is to see your kid struggle, I'm hoping that knowing that your kid has his or her own path and their own spiritual source, even if they don't know it yet, I think that is comforting, right? That it's not all up to you, And perhaps your own emotional eating is driven by a sense of burden that you may carry for helping your children, helping them be happy, helping them love themselves. And I hope that your child's on a path, and it may not be a path of healing for a while, but they have a path. They're here for many lessons, and you obviously do the best you can, but you're not responsible for your child's ultimate happiness and health. That is their unique path, and you can do the best that you can do. I do, when parents talk to me about their kids who are struggling with food and weight, especially, they say, what do I do? What do I do? And hopefully Lucie's story gives you hope that perhaps your child could get help at a young age, that they can turn things around with the right help, help that takes them on a deeper journey of self-love and self-care and self-compassion. And if you think at all that your child might be open to such a journey, certainly reach out to Heal Your Hunger. We would love to have a conversation with you about that, and see if perhaps, your teen could be interested in the work that takes place with Heal Your Hunger. But if that's not your child's path, if that's not in the cards, what I would say is that the best thing you can do for your child who's struggling or suffering or is lost is, if you're an emotional eater, get help for yourself. If you're struggling with food and weight, you deserve to be free. You deserve to get support. When our relationship with food is rocky, when we're not feeling good about our food choices or about our bodies, that is felt by everybody around us. When our light is dimmed because we're struggling, that energy transfers. People know it, they feel it. So the best thing you can do for your kids is to get support for yourself, get on a healing path with your relationship with food. And I promise you, it's the best gift to give to your kids, is to help them see you as a happy, productive, self-loving person. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for leaving a positive review and sharing this episode with others. If you need support, please do reach out to Heal Your Hunger. Love you. See you on the next show.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.